First, welcome to Utah. As a native New Yorker, there's nothing that makes me happier than be here in the Beehive State. For the past couple of years, I've been pleasure of running a business that I'm going to talk to you about today, and Performance Matters, and we're right down the street. And I thought, if you're hearing Josh before, structure, I thought I was going to talk a lot about Utah, because one of those big themes, because we compete a lot, not really in the market, but we compete for engineers. And his line is, his office is 5 minutes closer to Alta than ours. But we really enjoy the state. We enjoy being here. I think there's a lot of presence, and so when Deb and Mike were talking about places to come, I think for those of you who haven't been here, I think you're going to find it pretty exciting to understand what's happening in the state of Utah and Silicon Slopes as it's referenced. And today I'm going to talk about our business, which is Performance Matters. Performance Matters was created last summer with the merger of True North Logic and a company called Performance Matters. And as we reference it here, is the unstoppable combination of both of those platforms, the platforms I'm going to talk about in a minute. Both of these businesses shared great services culture, a best-in-class platform, and a big, bold vision and a passion for education. So we brought them together, formed one company, rebranded the business last summer, and called it again Performance Matters, because what we're about is enhancing student performance. And we believe that performance does matter. That is what all matters around education is moving forward related to that. And our reason for the merger was that we believe to improve performance, it is to enhance the relationship between the student and the teacher. And at the end of the day, that's it. And then you're going to spend the next 3 days looking at and hearing about all different technologies, all different components of education. But again, at the end of the day, how do you enhance that relationship between a student and a teacher? And that's what our platform does. And we believe that data is the key element that will do that. It'll drive better teaching and learning. It'll connect students and educators so that they can improve their instruction and their learning. All right? So that's in essence our belief. And so to do that and to make that happen, we really have a couple different components. All right? So the first side on your left is a best-in-class student assessment system. All right? And then on your right is a best-in-class educator PD observation evaluation system, which tracks on both of those sides data, information around how students are achieving, and then how educators are learning, and how they themselves are advancing their own careers. And that combined platform has to come together into your existing environment, right? Because there is no one core element of technology today in K-12, and our belief is there never will be. There will be lots of different products that will have to be connected to lots of different things. But it's the connection of those two platforms, a best-in-class student assessment system with a best-in-class educator PD observation coming together with deep analytics is the way to go. And that will help districts and state education departments succeed. And when you look at the marketplace, we're the only player who is bringing those things together as one cohesive, analytically driven solution set. And so a little bit around our company by the numbers. We're, first off, private business. We support 11 million students. We support over 1 million educators. We have 6 statewide contracts, and of the largest districts in the United States, over 51 of them are our customers today. We're in 28 states, and we have about 150 employees today. And there's our team. It's not as, we don't have as many hobbies as Josh's team if you sat through some of the instructor piece, but of our 150 employees, we're about data scientists, we're educators, we're technicians. We're all around to have a passion for education. We have a large team of customer success professionals, all ex-educators out in the field working with the districts every day for success. From a customer base, this is really the thing we're most proud of how we serve those 11 million students and 1 million educators. As I mentioned, we have 6 statewide contracts, which are not contracts an ability to sell to, but a mandate for those states to use on one of our platforms. We support the largest city and county districts, including Chicago, LAUSD, Fairfax County, as an example. And over the past year and a half, we've been building out our products and turning our services into much more technology-enabled SaaS products to focus on small and mid-sized districts today. And when we talk and when we go out to our districts, what they want to do is, and what they ask for, is what can we do more with you, right? Working with our teams, because as educators and technicians, we've been able to really deliver that. Now let me walk you through the platform in a little bit more detail. So this is the Educator platform. So this is where teachers, principals, and administrators work on advancing educators around their performance with professional development, around their own evaluations, observations, and for efficacy, ensuring that the observers are calibrated into the standards and rubrics that the districts follow. And how does it work is what it does is help teachers understand what PD is available based on the feedback from their observations. It's connected. So if you look 3-4 years ago, each one of these little boxes was a separate application set, and many of our customers today have separate platforms for each, an evaluation system, or an observation system, or a calibration system, or a PD system. We've combined them together, we've had them together since day one, and it helps teachers tremendously. It helps principals understand, are their teachers improving their practices over time, right? And it helps administrators in many different ways, and you can see some of the examples. And we invest heavily within this platform. This platform is has been evolving over 15 years, and as I mentioned, work on some of the largest districts, the most complex in the country. And that was the platform that came from the company True North Logic, founded here by Jeanette Herron in Sandy, Utah. The student platform has its heritage from the company called Performance Matters. And this is an assessment platform used by teachers, used by administrators, curriculum leaders in K-12 in the United States for summative and formative assessments. Not statewide assessments, but assessments that manage from the beginning of the process of the school year throughout. And an assessment platform is so critical to understand student achievement and migration. We deal with many different item types, over 17 different item types around efficacy, around learning. And the feedback is not around how a student has done, but it's how a student is doing in migrating over time, right? And as a teacher, what it does is it helps me understand, are my students meeting the growth objectives that I set with them? From an administrator or curriculum perspective is, do our intervention actions show a positive impact on learning? Does that impact vary when comparing student demographics? And all of these standard aligned, standard based. And an assessment platform enables a district to build assessments, to be able to report not on the overall just net score, but on each question, each answer, and to give immediate feedback to the teachers themselves around how their students are achieving. So on one side, you understand how our educators are operating, on the other side, our students, and we bring it together with our analytics platform. And so now you're able to start to answer questions that you couldn't answer before. And many of those questions are so relevant today, particularly around ESSA, right? So I've identified a couple here to look at. One, are underperforming students receiving underperforming educators? All right, I was in a presentation earlier today. It's people understand, all right, 1 year of a bad teacher is one thing, but 2 years in a row is a totally another. Do you know, are you able to look at the evaluation, observation data of your students and understanding their achievement over time in a real-time manner? With our platform, you can. You bring those together. You know, is there a correlation between all the dollars in PD that is invested in student outcome? So if your students in 9th grade are struggling, around algebra and you invest in algebra PD, do they do any better in algebra? Right? An integrated student and educator platform answers those questions. That's what our analytics does. Let's talk about ESSA for a couple minutes, right? Are we providing assurance that we have adopted challenging academic content and aligned those to standards? We've told the state that, but how do we report on that over time? Our platform does that for us and for you, for the districts that we work with and within the states. And so when you bring it all together, this is a Performance Matters platform of 3 components: educator, student, and analytics. And it's integrated together, hosted, SaaS-based, secure, and scalable. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, how do you install, how do you implement this product within a district? Because it's one of many different pieces. And we are, and it's concurrent to this session, there's an IMS Global presentation going on right now. We are very open, and we are a leader within open standards, and we very much support and push forward the IMS Global standards. And we encourage all of our districts that all the vendors that they work with be IMS Global standard. It's a critical aspect, and we're proud, as you can see on this slide, to be a leader across those dimensions about assessments, about K-12 moving forward. Again, we work with every one of our customers around that openness. To also be an open system is you have to have business partners. And we have 4 basic types of partners. On the top left, we have technology partners. Those are whether those be LMSs, SISs, scanning components like GradeCam that help enable our platform. On the upper right, we have complementary services because the data coming out of our platform is so rich that many of the districts don't have the knowledge of what to do next based on those outcomes. What are all the different questions I can ask? And here are all these answers. What do I do now? How am I working over time? So we work with professional services organizations such as Generation Ready, which works with school districts to understand that data input and create actionable outcomes based on it. Because at the end of the day, action is what is required. On the bottom left are item banks. And this is around our assessment engine. In that today, there are a number of companies, we partner with all the leading providers that have state-aligned assessment material, item banks, tests, individual assessments, and technology-enabled items that districts can buy. And we work with each of them, input that into our application set so that the curriculum leaders within the districts can build out the appropriate tests moving forward. Now, there are other ways that they can build out assessments as well. We have our own editing and writing technology that enables the assessment creation. And we also do a crowd sharing component that all the districts, as long as they opt in to our platform and want to share assessments across the different districts. So tens of thousands of state-aligned assessment data. On the bottom right is around PD content, because as I'm now watching how my students are achieving over time, I'm evaluating and observing my teachers for the effectiveness. The teachers need to improve on some level. So then through our professional development system, it'll tie then to appropriate third-party content. We are not a content provider. We are the hub of professional development, and then we point to a number of providers for PD content. And we can do that PD content in a couple ways. One way is through an iTunes-type construct where you can buy, districts can buy a certain amount of dollars or individual courses, or teachers themselves can purchase individual classes. We also have relationships with leading content providers, and the one I want to talk about today is our friends with Teaching Channel, because we just announced on Friday an exclusive relationship with Teaching Channel around distribution to our K-12 schools, as well as deep technical integration. And why? Because our customers, the large districts, were saying, we want PD content for our teachers. We want it at a price point that's appropriate, but even more appropriate is we want it to be actionable, aligned to the state standards, and to be modern and clean. And they all wanted to be with Teaching Channel. So I talked to the team with George, CEO. We cut a deal, we announced it yesterday, and we're off to the races. And so now when we see and when we demonstrate our product and the PD product specifically, and when you look at assessments and you want to improve your teachers, you can see state aligned, where do you go for help, right? Our system is still open. We'll work across others, but a deeper relationship with Teaching Channel. Now, if you think about this marketplace and think about how we've been talking about it, is today it's very siloed. You're going to see presentations here of two types of companies. Companies with educator-based solutions, and I talked around the rest of those, or student-based assessment. Separate markets, separate set of competitors. You see some who focus on big districts, some on small, some on states. And I did my best, to do a little bit of a graphic around, so how do we all play out in that marketplace and what's different? And what's different about Performance Matters is we are moving and leading to create a new category, a data-rich category for K-12. We focus at the state level, we focus at the district level, and the school level in bringing these together. And we think the reason is it delivers much better outcomes for students, and that districts are going to have a much better experience around usage around their environments. Now, is it a big market? Well, it's two markets. It's not just one. It's a PD market. The PD market, we think, is over $18 billion, over $3 billion spent on external providers. It's very large. And in all the meetings I have, and you talk with districts, it's how am I getting the best use of my PD dollars? And if you have an educator platform, if you have Performance Matters, we can help you answer those questions. The assessment market, $4.5, $5 billion, growing as well, and really in a critical need around a modern day approach to data and data analytics, okay? And around how we're working and how our growth is, to give you a little flavor around our revenue, our ARR, as that's all we tend to think about, is a continual renewal of that business around the movement of our business in this marketplace and growing quite rapidly. And if we think going forward, what's that growth opportunity for us? The first and foremost, it's organic and inorganic. On the organic side, it is taking the districts that have one platform, a student platform, an educator, and cross-selling and upselling them. Second is, as I think about and as we spend time with districts around the country, is a modern assessment platform with rich analytics around technology and enhanced items, enabling linked to state standards is something that is just less than 50% of the districts have. All right, so there's a large opportunity for that for us, as well as moving in new states. We're also out in the marketplace around inorganic growth with new technology partnerships, with new content partnerships, and acquisitions of regional players. So we feel very comfortably that it's a great market to be in. It's a lot of fun. It's a little different. We have to invest in multiple ways because as a best of breed, which is one way we go to market, a best of breed within each platform. And typically we enter into an opportunity through one of those. A district wants to talk about one of those platforms. They come in, we start talking about that platform, and at some level, it's a feature function competition that we have. We feel very strong about our capabilities in each. But where we've really seen the difference is when we bring the other side of the angle together. We bring the other leg, if you will, of the story. And in that, we feel very comfortable, and as well as our customers feel very comfortable that this is the approach that they want. Data-rich, heavily intensive, K-12 focused SaaS application set. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. I have 3 minutes if anyone has any Q&A, and then we can go from here. So thank you.